See, once you get jacked, your whole entire reality changes. I noticed this when I got jacked. I noticed that the life that I lived, the way that the world perceived me before I got jacked was very different from the way that the world perceived me after I got jacked. And it also changed my perception of reality as well in a positive way. Right. So if you're in a process where you're thinking of, okay, I want to get jacked or I want to get in the best shape of my life, you need to do it because your reality is going to completely change and it's going to catapult you in other areas of your life. So the first thing that you have to understand that I learned through this process is that the world rewards strength and it punishes weakness. This is a brutal reality that most people don't understand. See, and when I talk about strength, I do mean physical strength and mental strength. Those are the two things that the world will reward, regardless of what they tell you. Society will reward you for being a strong man, right? So when you're able to lift heavier things that other people can't lift and help other people out, help elderly people out, when you're with a woman, right, and you demonstrate a version of you that is strong, you will be rewarded for that. You will be rewarded with admiration. You will be rewarded with even compensation. If you're looking for a job and you're very strong and you have a strong mindset, they will hire you because you have that strength. Now, when you're weak, when you can't really lift anything physically, you can't get through adversity mentally, the world will punish you. You will lose a lot of the opportunities that you could have potentially had. The women will start to see you as a weak man and they will not desire you as much, right? Other men around you won't take you seriously because you are a weak man. This is just the reality. And so once you get jacked, that whole reality changes because people will start to see you as somebody who's strong and reliable. See, strength means that you're reliable. Strength means that you can help solve problems. It's a big indicator that you can actually start to solve problems. So that's the first thing that you'll start to realize once you get in the best shape of your life, once you become actually physically strong, right? And you'll start to see other people who are weak in a very different way. So it's very important to be able to calibrate yourself to be able to have that strength so that other people can start to respect you. Respect is a big thing. Respect is given to people who are strong, and respect is taken away from people who are weak. The second thing that I realized, especially with women, right? And I know it's not about women, but it's an interesting perspective. What they tell you that they don't really care that you look a certain way. But when I started to change my physique, I started to get a lot more interest in women. I started to get a lot more choosing signals. I spent less time trying to approach women, and I started to get approached because of the way that I looked, because of the physique that I had. Right. And also the mindset that you have, your eyes will show when you're in the gym and you're pushing yourself as hard as you can and you're building the body that you want to build and you're transforming your identity. People will start to see that aura radiate from you. And that is going to make you highly attractive to the opposite sex. And it will also make you attractive in your male circles. Right. It'll make you somebody that is desired because you are going for something that is bigger than yourself. You've now transitioned from being this peon, this person who's just in the corner, just moving around through life and not really taking action. And you start to become this action focused man that everybody admires, especially women. So your options will get a lot better. You'll get a higher tier of women, by the way. That's what I experienced. I went from attracting average women to attracting women who are above average, right? And they respected me and they saw me as aspirational. They put me on a pedestal. I didn't put them on a pedestal, right? And especially for you, your self-perception will start to get so high. Your self-image will start to grow so much that you will never put a woman on a pedestal ever again. Right? This is also if you calibrate your mind, not just your body, but that's why the gym is so important. And that's why physical activity is important because it calibrates your mind, not just your body. Your body is literally a result of how your mind has transformed. Right? The next thing that I realized in terms of reality is that life is a meritocracy, right? It's all about what you put in. It's all about the work that you put in. It's all about your results. That's what matters. Nobody cares about you if you're not getting results in anything that you do. I noticed this when I was getting jacked because as I was getting results, people started to come to me for advice. People started to see me as somebody who was valuable. I started getting invited to different circles. My billionaires, millionaires would ask me about fitness advice. I would start to build my network around that. So my whole reality of value changed. I understood that life is a meritocracy. It wasn't about my skin color. It wasn't about where I came from. It was about the results that I was generating in that moment of time. And life will reward you for that. Your reality will change because of that factor. So you have to understand it. It's very, very important that you understand this. All right. The next thing that was very important that I realized and that reality started to sink in was that people do not want you to surpass them in terms of growth. People are excited when you're on the journey. And sometimes people aren't even excited when you're on the journey because you're already surpassed them because they never even started a journey for themselves. But the reality is people do not want you to exceed them in growth and whatsoever. They will pull you down. It's like crabs in a bucket mentality. They'll pull you down as much as possible. If they see that you are surpassing where they're currently at, they will start to hate on you. They will start to make sly comments. They'll start to discount what you're doing and call it a little fitness journey or something that you're doing or some phase that you're in, the gym bro phase, because they realize that you're starting to transform yourself. So my reality changed when it came to understanding how people behaved with other people meeting their goals and exceeding their goals and becoming a better version of themselves. So as I started to get jacked, as I started to have those results, I would get a lot of haters. I would get a lot, and even when I was posting on social media, I would get a lot of people who were critiquing me being on social media, me posting workouts, me becoming this fitness influencer, right? As I started to get popularity, as I started to get notoriety, I was getting posted on big articles. I was basically going viral on the internet early on. And it showed me that people will literally pull you down. And if they realize that they can't pull you down, then they'll start to gravitate to you. So the biggest thing that I realized in terms of reality is that you have to ignore a lot of the haters and you have to keep progressing forward, because at the end of the day, those haters will be your biggest fans once you get to that point. They may hate on you behind closed doors, but to your face, they will be your biggest fans. Right? The people who were hating on me on the internet, when they saw me in real life, high levels of respect. So you have to understand that that is a big difference that happens. That's something that genuinely does change your reality once you start to build yourself up. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's very important that you understand this. All right. The next part of reality that I found was interesting is that your personality starts to change. You start to not accept mediocrity anymore. See, most people's reality is all about accepting mediocrity, accepting being average. They cope. They accept other people's coping mechanisms projected onto them. So as I was getting jacked, as I was putting in the work and I was seeing the results, I started to get less patient with people who were making excuses for themselves. So my reality started to change because I realized that it was very important to finally start to put in the actions. Right? Stop making excuses. Stop coping. Stop saying that you can't do something just because you don't have time. Or everything changed. So my reality of progress, my reality of results changed. And it also changed the way that I saw other people who were making excuses. I realized why a lot of humanity is suffering, why a lot of humanity is broke, why a lot of humanity is fat, why a lot of humanity never achieves their goals and they're always bitter and sour because they don't actually put in the work to make it happen. They don't push through when it's hard to make it happen. And all of this really shifted the way that I thought. And that's why I had a very low tolerance for people who were making excuses. I had a low tolerance for women who made excuses. I had a low tolerance for men who made excuses. I even had a low tolerance, because I was in college at the time, I had a low tolerance for professors that made excuses for other students who didn't get things done. I was always getting things done on time because I understood the power of discipline. I understood the power of taking action and making things a reality for yourself, simply because I did that in the gym. It was a whole big life lesson, right? You have to understand that. The next thing I understood was social circles. Social circles are dictated by how you look and how you project yourself. Right? I was getting invited to many different social circles in my college sphere that I wasn't getting invited to before, simply because I looked like a person who was put together. Right? Everybody wants to be around the guy who is put together. So your whole reality changes when it comes to making friends, when it comes to networking with people, when it comes to getting the attention of people, even online. I was getting a lot more attention online, which meant more money for me, because attention turns into currency if you know how to do that properly. So it became a lot easier for me to start to attract more people into my life. And I was able to then dictate who I wanted and who I did not want, versus the opposite. Before you're jacked, before you build your physique, before you build that mind, before your reality shifts, you kind of take what you get and you're desperate, right? You're desperate because you don't have the options, When you're jacked, you finally have options. You have options with women, you have options with friends, and you can start to choose who you want to pull into your circle because you become a highly valuable person, right? And when you become that highly valuable person, people want to start getting pulled towards you. People start pulling you towards them. And they start trying to prove themselves to you versus the other way around. I used to have to prove myself to everybody. And then once I got jacked, I didn't have to prove myself to anybody. I was just who I was, and people just accepted me for who I was, and they enjoyed the fact that I was me. They enjoyed the fact that they saw some success in me physically. It was very evident, right? Whether you believe it or not, being jacked is very interesting because yes, there is a perception if you're aesthetic that you have the discipline. There's some people who are very aesthetic. You look at the bodybuilders, the TikTok boys they may have the aesthetic success, but they don't necessarily have the mental success because they haven't been able to tune their mind into what they're actually achieving in the gym. They haven't merged both of them together. But they do have an advantage on the average person because, I mean, let's face it, the average person doesn't look the part. If you look the part, you'll at least get in the door. You'll at least have that advertisement. You'll at least have some level of upper hand on people, and people will start to gravitate towards you a lot more. So it's important that you not only look the part, but you are the person, but at least look the part to start, because that'll get you into doors and you'll realize what you need to work on to be able to stay in those doors, stay in those rooms. Right? That's a big thing. Being aesthetic, looking the part is very, very important. I'm not saying that's why you train at the gym, even though psychologically and realistically, that's why most people get in the gym. It's superficiality, but that superficiality is just a gateway into understanding discipline, into understanding how to go through adversity. It's a gateway to understanding how to solve problems, right, in your life. It's a gateway to understanding how you can help other people because other people will ask you more about the gym. You'll start to feel like you're valuable. So it's important that that reality starts to set in your life because you will start to feel a lot more fulfilled as a man when you feel like you're needed. The worst thing that a man can ever feel is that he's replaceable and that he's somebody who can easily just be dismissible, right? It doesn't exist. Invisible. Invisible and replaceable are the two worst feelings that a man can have. Those are the two secret desires. Being irreplaceable and being somebody that everybody sees, right? Being visible in society. Those are the two things that men innately want, right? So that's why they'll go chase money. They'll go chase all of these things. They'll go show because they want that. If you're saying you don't want that, you're coping because it literally is biological for a man to be to desire that outcome. Right. So your whole reality shifts. I just gave you a few of those examples, but my whole life changed, man. Like I can't even tell you enough how it's changed my life financially, how it's changed my life mentally, how it's changed my life physically. I don't have any ailments. I don't fall victim to diseases. I don't have anything. I've broken any generational curse when it came to health. I come from a family that is ridden with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, they get strokes, they all kind of cardiac arrest. I come from that, but it also made me realize, this is a bonus, it made me realize that you can change your destiny just simply by your actions. I literally changed my whole genetic bloodline through my actions, which is the same thing that you can do as well. So once you understand this process, it becomes a lot easier for you as a man to be able to have a better reality of life, to live a higher quality life, right? So take this, internalize it, rewatch this if you need to as motivation, and get in the gym and build the body that you need. And if you need help with that, shameless plug, link is in the description. Get a free strategy call with me to see if it makes sense to work together, and I will help you through the process. I'm currently working with a couple men who are genuinely ready to change their life, ready to change their identity, ready to catapult themselves to success in 2025, and I want you to be one of them. So tap in, link is in the description, only if you're serious. Don't come in and be saying, oh, I gotta think about it. No, if you have to think about it, you don't want it bad enough. Every time that I've made an investment in myself, I knew that I wanted to do it and I got it done and it worked. Every time I said I had to think about it, I never got it done. It was years and years and years of waiting, and nothing happened. It's not about the money. It's about the mindset. It's about how you want to change yourself. It's about, do you respect yourself enough to make that change, if that's something that you desire? All right. So I appreciate you and I hope to catch you on the next video that I will have. But it was great. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right.